Bit of a wet old day here in, it's a bit of a wet old day here in sunny Temora. Because I haven't made a video for a while, I thought I'd just take you through and show you some of the things that I'm up to on the Renegade build. Let's have a look. A lot of my time spent waiting for parts. I've got most of them now, although I did order an oil cooler and some lines last night, but I've got most of the stuff I need to build the aeroplane, or to finish the build. But some of the simple things that, you know, really shouldn't be a problem, in fact are. For instance, let's have a look here. These couple of turnbuckles right here. The small one I can get from Spruce, the medium one I can't. Not only could I not get it, but they have no idea when they're likely to get one in. So I had to buy that elsewhere. I've got a small one for the other side coming, so that one wire on the other side's not finished, otherwise the back end is all complete, ready for covering. And up here, I should have done this before we went down, I've made these panels. I'm reasonably happy with the way they turned out. I need to put some anchor nuts on here when I take that off. When I take the turtle deck off, the turtle deck has to come off again. A couple of reasons. While it's off, I'll take advantage. I want to put an antenna here, facing upwards on the top of the turtle deck. Of course, the turtle deck's got to be riveted on yet. It's held on by clecos right now. I cut an access hole for the battery, because the battery, at the moment, this is an old battery out of my RV6, but it's going to be fairly big, and I'm hoping that this will be sufficient as far as C&G is concerned. It'll certainly be sufficient as far as electricity is concerned. But yeah, hopefully it's aft enough. I've left the battery leads long enough so that I can move it further aft if necessary. And I will put another floor in the next bay, a small floor in this bay here, so that I can move the battery back about a battery length back if I need to. A couple of things here. This, I'm short a couple of cables on this wing. Let's have a look. The cable that runs from just here down to the fuselage, I have to make that cable, and for whatever reason I don't have a piece of cable long enough to do it. There's more coming from Spruce when that order does eventually get here. And the two big cables that run from up there down to the fuselage there, I don't have enough cable to make the other one of those. And that's my fault. I was just a bit too extravagant with the cable I was supplied. So as you can see, the electrical installation has begun. Fairly heavy duty battery leads, which are way beyond what I need, but anyway, that's what I've got. They're actually welding cables, nice and flexible, and the aeroplane will be registered in the experimental category. The oil tank, which I've been waiting on for quite a while, turned up. Let's have a look here. We go back down again. Oh my God, this is getting tedious. But on the inside of the firewall is where the oil tank is going, which you can maybe see, not very well. This is the oil tank here. It's currently being plumbed up. When I get the hoses, then that'll be able to progress as well. But when I installed the oil tank, I put these, where are we? Yep, these stiffeners on the firewall. I'll build a structure across from one side to the other and mount these electronic devices for the engine ignition, and they'll go here somewhere, wherever I can cool them, because they do tend to get hot. And yeah, so that has to be done yet. Of course, when the turtle deck does come off, then I'll make these clearances around the struts, the cabane struts, nice and neat and even. They're a bit ordinary now. Still got to build the windscreen yet. The upper wing, of course, I've got to put the leading edge on, which I can't do because I haven't done this cable, and because I haven't done this cable, I'll turn you around. Hopefully you can see that. I haven't riveted that main structural on, simply because it's difficult to get to. It'll be a lot easier when the wing comes off, and I know the wing has to come off. So yeah, that's where we are. While we're picking up the oil tank the other day, I bought the engine instruments, which they're just sitting there right now. They're not connected up or wired up or anything like that. But yeah, they look pretty sweet. I'm pretty happy with them. I like steam-powered instruments. I don't need a glass cockpit. You know, it just doesn't, and it wouldn't suit this aeroplane, but I don't need it. The instruments are not exactly the flight instruments are not exactly the layout that I would choose. The layout is more based on the size of the instrument and whether I've got enough space to install it. Like this vertical speed indicator, for instance, I have enough space to put it right over the side here. I couldn't put it where the tacho is. It wouldn't go because there's not enough space. The front seat's in the way. The back of the front seat is in the way. And the same over here. The altimeter and airspeed indicator would probably be, all things being equal, would probably be the other way around. But the altimeter's longer than the airspeed indicator, so it gets the long piece of the long area. Let's have a look here. We'll go around the other side and have a look. Yeah, here's the electrical side of things. Main incomer through the master solenoid. From the master solenoid out, out here to the start solenoid. They're similar, and then eventually it'll go from the start solenoid through, and eventually wind up here at this terminal on the starter motor. But I've got to make a firewall penetration here somewhere, wherever, some nice neat spot for it. Yeah, you can't just have wires going through the firewall willy-nilly. It needs a proper penetration. And that's about it. That's pretty close to being it. There's not much in the way of instruments. There's an airspeed indicator and an altimeter in the front cockpit. About there somewhere. But there's not going to be very much else. The compass, of course, is sitting up there as well. But yeah, there's not much. not much else going in there. On the propeller front, I still haven't, on that, I have got a bit of a difference of opinion between the engine manufacturer and the propeller manufacturer as to what the pitch should be. At this stage of the game, I'm going to take the engine manufacturer's recommendation and go with a well, it's a 53 by 76 inch prop, so it's fairly coarse, a fairly coarse prop. But that should make the engine happy. These coils, the ignition coils, there's two of these. I'll probably mount them here somewhere, whatever. See what space I've got once I put the other ignition components up there. The fuel pump, I will have a fuel pump, and at the moment it's just sitting on the floor right here between the pedals. It's not very well protected there, but I'll probably have it there, and run the fuel, run solid fuel line across the floor to it and back. The brakes. The brakes are actually in and they operate. They've been bled. You've got very, very, very little movement, and they will work. They're heel brakes, which takes a little bit of getting used to, but they'll work beautifully. I've got this little electrical sub panel down the side here. I've got this little sort of an electrical sub panel down the side with the master switch at the top. Where are we? Can you see that? There you can. The master switch is up at the top there. The ignition switch, it's just a regular ignition switch. Of course, you can't have an aeroplane in this day and age without USB ports. There's a couple of ports there. I've got 3 switches here. Believe it or not, there is 3 if you look under there. I can actually get to all of them with the fabric on. I don't know, I haven't worked that out yet. One will be the fuel pump, obviously. One will be maybe for the radio. There's not a big electrical system, so, you know, there's not going to be need for 27 switches. I've put 3. Got an hour meter here, but the tacho also has an hour meter built in, which you may be able to see or may not. Probably not very well, but anyway, it has an hour meter built into it. I've got a voltmeter and amp meter here. The engine instruments came with a voltmeter as well. I suppose I could probably cut that out and install the voltmeter down here, but I'm happy. I'd prefer to have this electronic one. This piece of real estate here is for the fuel selector valve. It'll go there. It's a 4. That's coming from Spruce as well. It's a 4-position selector valve. I've got a 3-position one, but I need a 4 because I'm going to run, you know, a right tank, a left tank, and a ferry tank in the front seat. And because I need to be able to go somewhere, and if if I'm not carrying sufficient fuel, I'm not going anywhere. So, yeah, there you go. And of course the circuit breaker panel here. And the circuit breakers will be, they're just, these two, the 2 5-amp ones are where they're finally going to go. These other 2 I've just borrowed for the mock-up for now, so that I can run the wiring and so on. And then I borrowed those ones off one of the neighbours. So that's it. That's pretty much where we're at. The rigging is It's not where it's meant to be, but it's getting closer and closer. It's as close as I need it to be right now. Everything's good. There you go.